welcome back everyone. I'm Chismosa.
And I'm Denali with a J.
And recently Denali made something pretty amazing that I wouldn't have thought I would like. And what was that?
Quiche.
And how many times have you made quiche before?
That was the first time I made it.
And I have to say it was like a strong 8.5 out of 10.
Thank you.
So it was really yummy. I don't want to overdo it and say 9. So yeah, 8.5. And quiche.
But is it an 8.5 that you would round up or round down?
Okay, let me be honest. It was like an 8.45 out of 10, which is pretty good. But technically, you do have to round that down to an 8.
I'm very upset about that.
Okay, fine. Let's round it up to a 9. Either way.
See, now you're being dishonest.
Well, I have nothing to compare it to because I've never had a quiche before, just like you've never made a quiche before. So you rate it out of 10.
I don't know, it's pretty good.
That's not out of 10.
I know, it's weird to rate your own stuff.
Then do it. I like weird.
I don't know. I mean... Yeah, I don't know.
Is it easier if you rate it out of 5? I feel like that's easier.
Out of 5?
Yeah, because then it's obvious what you'll rate it.
Yeah, 4.5 out of 5.
Oh, with no points.
What? No points?
No points, no decimals.
In that case, I would have to say this quiche was a 5 out of 5.
Whoa, okay. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first.
Except for the crust.
I liked the crust.
But it wasn't quite cooked enough.
Anyways, but either way, it was a delicious quiche that smelled delicious. And you know what it certainly did not smell like? I'll say it. You just ask me what.
What didn't it smell like?
It didn't smell like fire because you didn't burn it, and it did not smell like brimstone, which brimstone is sulfur.
Brimstone is sulfur, yeah.
So basically it smells like rotten eggs. So unlike the eggs that you used for the quiche, which were fresh, we believe, fire and brimstone smells like rotten eggs.
That's actually why it was so good, because
they were rotten. Oh my gosh. A place that smelled like rotten egg. What is it? Sodom and Gomorrah, yay!
Which brings us to our story of today, which is
Sodom
and why it was lit.
Let's all keep it real with each other. Where we know the word Sodom from is in the longer word sodomy. And yes, they're related, but not in the most obvious way. And we're going to explain to you the real story, which is actually, if you can imagine this, like weirder than you would ever possibly think. Actually, I told my sister this story on the phone today, and she was like, wow, that's a really weird story. So get ready to have a similar reaction. Okay, so Denali, tell us about the very beginning. How did this all start? What exactly happened in Sodom and Gomorrah? We know it ended up smelling like fire and brimstone, but how did it get there?
So what first happened was these angels slash and or God, depending on how you read it, visited Abraham, and they were just like chilling. And then they told Abraham they were going to go and destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. They said they were going to go destroy it because they heard bad things about it. And then Abraham was basically like, please don't, there might be good people there. Yeah. And so they negotiated and decided if there were enough good people there, they wouldn't destroy it.
Okay, I need a kind of idea of the scope here. When Abraham was negotiating with the angels / God, it's unclear, these deities, these heavenly beings, about how many people it would take to save Sodom / Gomorrah.
Oh, they agreed on 10 eventually.
Wow, so it got that low.
Yeah, so if there were 10 good people in the city, they decided to save it.
So Abraham's faith in Sodom's goodness
was pretty low.
Pretty low. Okay, so we have an idea. Okay, we know what to expect, kind of.
They had heard bad things about the city, so they were going to go investigate.
Right.
Because apparently that's something they did in person back then. Maybe it's because the world population was smaller, so they had more. The angelic bureaucracy was stretched less thin, but
hilarious. The sacrilege is so hilarious.
Anyway, so they go down in person to the city, and so they come walking in the gates, And so back then, they didn't like have hotels or motels. Like they didn't really have like the hospitality industry, and so like it was a pretty big part of their culture, and like even in that part of the world, even like today, it's still like a big culture of like hospitality. That kind of like grew out of this need for it.
Do you mean that they quite literally opened their doors to strangers?
Yeah. Really important was like the semi-nomadic lifestyle they lived and stuff like that. So anyway, so these people come in the gate, and there's this guy named Lot, which is like Abraham's nephew.
Yeah.
So Lot sees them, and so
Wait.
Lot was sitting at the gate of the city, you know, talking business or whatever. Then he sees these people, and so he decides to do the hospitable thing and invite them to stay the night at his place. And at first they're like, no, we can't presume and do that. And he's like, no, seriously, like please, I'm asking you, come and stay the night at my house. So they're like, okay. So they agreed, and so then he took them back to his place, and he served them dinner.
Oh, okay. So I have to take over now because it's about to get juicy. So Lot, with his guests, does he know they're angels?
No.
But maybe he perceived a little, I don't know, something special about these gentlemen. But whatever Lot did or did not get, the people of the town, they got something, okay? The news of these gentlemen's arrival spread like wildfire, because at some point during which Lot and his family were having dinner, there was like a knock on the door. But it wasn't like one of those knocks your grandma gives, like, oh, I have some cookies or anything like that. No, it was like a kind of relatively aggressive knock. Okay, picture that in your mind. And maybe not just the knock of one fist, it might have been several. So Lot's a little bit like, whoa, that's interesting. And maybe Lot kind of peers through his window or something, maybe one of Lot's daughters, maybe his wife, and they're like, wow.
Oh, that's important. Who was eating dinner with Lot?
Oh yeah, that is really important. So Lot's family, at least the family that lived at home, comprised of him, his wife, and then his two daughters. And these daughters are not very old, okay? Let's say they're young. Let's say they're almost virginal. Not almost virginal. Let's say they're straight up virgins. This will be relevant later, okay? So Lot's there with his family, the virgins, the wife, Lot, and the angels. Lot doesn't know they're angels, but there they are being angels. And then there are these knocks at the door, and then there are these people outside the door, and it's not like one person or two people or 10 people. It's like a throng. It's like a crowd. That's throng, not thong, okay? Everyone, a bunch of people outside. And so Lot's a little bit like, oh, maybe this is something good. Who knows? So he goes to the door and he's like, hey guys, like, what can I do for you? And they're like, yo, there is actually something you can do. That's a very good point that you just made there. And so what do they say, Denali? What do they want?
Oh, so basically they had seen these two strangers walk down the street, and it had caused quite a ruckus, and so they had gotten a gang together, and so they were like, yo, there's two people that we saw go into your house earlier, and Lot was like,
Yep.
yeah, there's two guys here. He was like, so send them outside, and Lot was like, okay, but like why? Like we're eating dinner right now. And he's like, because we all want to have sex with them. Like, that's what they said.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So
obviously Lot was like,
blink,
no, I don't think so. And they're like, we weren't asking, yo. We were like this isn't like a friendly request here.
Right.
And there's like a bunch of them out there, and so like they're like, no, send them out. And so Lot was like, okay, like it's like there's like all these like rules of like hospitality back then. It would be very rude for him to like send those people out. And so he was like, so how about instead of I send those two people out, he's like, please don't do that, because he said it would be wicked for him to send the two men out. He's like, don't do this wickedness.
Yeah.
He's like, so instead of doing this wickedness, what you can do instead is I'll send out my two young daughters who are still virgins, and you can just like rape them.
Whoa.
Because that's a better idea.
Wow. I'm shook. I'm shaking.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And they They were like,
So that sounds like a pretty decent bargain. You have, okay, men, fine. Maybe they look really, the angelic aura, the angelic pheromones, amazing. But these are two young virgins. I'm assuming relatively cute. So, like, how did that go with the crowd?
yeah, they were not to be deterred.
Really?
Yeah.
They're like, you can take your virgin daughters and shove them where the sun don't shine.
Yeah, basically they said no, so you have to send them out. And then like they were getting mad because they're like, who is this guy? Like he just like who does he think he is? Like he's not from our town. Like he
Right.
just moved here. Like who does he think he is to like deny us? You know?
Yeah.
Like they didn't like him, so he's like, okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Like you're gonna send them out, and also we're gonna rape you. And like we're gonna do whatever we were gonna do to those guys. We're gonna do it even worse to you.
Whoa.
Is what they said.
Wow.
Now Lot was like, oh well, you know.
Oh dear.
This could have gone better.
He said, I'll reconvene with you guys after a moment. Let me just consult
yeah,
my
he
family.
said I don't know what to do here. And then so then they started attacking him basically.
Whoa.
And so he was trying to get inside, but he was outside.
Whoa.
And they were outside. And
With
so,
the rapists, the would-be rapists.
yeah. And so he was in trouble. So like the two people inside, the two angels, like they were hearing what was going on outside.
They heard Lot's screams as he feared for the health of his intestines. Plus, maybe they literally had their faces pressed up against the window, because that's what I would do.
Yeah, like a 5-year-old.
I mean, this is not a sight you see every day, I hope.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Although,
I don't
to be
know.
honest, if you were one of Lot's daughters and you heard your dad offer you up instead, maybe you would try to start running away.
But yeah, so they started attacking. So like these two angels, they got up and they basically struck everyone with blindness outside and pulled Lot back inside the door.
Whew.
And but it's funny because like
Good save.
because
Oh, yeah, this is
if
really
you
funny.
read it in the King James Bible with the language they use, it says that they tired themselves out groping for the door because they were blind. So it's like
Actually, it's...
just like a whole bunch of like blind rapists out there like groping for a door.
So what happens next?
They just like go to bed. So after this, everyone just finishes their supper and goes to sleep. And then like they don't like talk about like what's happened until the next morning. So like they wake up the next morning and then they have this conversation with Lot.
Okay, so they sit him down and they're like, look, man,
This city sucks.
we came here, we've only been here for like less than 48 hours and we've already almost been gang raped. Not a good experience. I'm going to rate it 0 out of 10 on TripAdvisor because this sucks.
Would not recommend.
Exactly, 0 out of 10 would not recommend. Almost raped, and the sheets were not washed. So they're like, look, we're gonna burn.
We're gonna
this
kill
place
literally
down.
everyone here.
Yeah.
Which is like so like they didn't even like go out to see if they were so they had this deal, and the deal was if there's 10 good people they won't destroy the city.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, we're not even they didn't even want to bother. They're
You
like
don't have to count at that point. I mean, come on, what's the point of counting? There was a crowd of angel rapists.
Yeah. So they were obviously like pretty mad because I mean like yeah. I mean like imagine like you were working at a company and like your division was like messing up and so like corporate sent a bunch of like investigators to figure out what the problem was and like everyone just like tried to gang rape the person. Like obviously they would not be happy.
Right.
I mean it's not exactly what happened here, but
It's a good analogy. I think it works.
yeah, so they were very mad, and like they weren't worried about filling out the bureaucratic reports. They're like, no, we're just like gonna call down fire and brimstone right now and burn everyone in a literal
Crisp.
hell on earth.
Yeah.
Like that's what's happening.
So-
And so like we have to leave the city, and so Lot was like, all right, well like I have to go tell my family because like he had his 2 daughters that were living there with him, but then like he also had some other
Kids.
children that were living in the city that had like married and like had their own families.
Right.
So like they go out and tell them to come and they were like, nah man, like we don't want to leave. Like they're like, just go away.
And to be honest, I mean, it doesn't elaborate, but I don't completely understand that because maybe Lot didn't have a good delivery. I don't know how you could be like, nah, I'm cool, when your dad is like, so some angels came and almost got raped, and now they're big mad, and they're gonna burn everyone to the ground to a crisp. Might want to leave. And you're like, one moment. Actually, no.
They're just like, No, like I hear you and I understand your story, but like I want to stay here. Like I can't imagine any other place I'd rather be than like right here right now. Like these are my people, yo. Like
Yeah.
like it's just like a bad judgment call, I think.
To say the least.
Like yeah, it doesn't even matter, you know? Like they're like, yo, my dad was like offering my sisters to get raped, and then like he almost got raped himself, and then just like no, but like the real estate market's so good here,
It's
like
so good.
like
And we already put
I
a
just
down
like the
payment.
vibe,
We
like
put a down payment on the pasture. And the sheep have been eating so well this year. I mean, you have no idea. They've gone so fat. Dad, you just don't understand. We can't leave. Not this year. And I guess Dad, being Lot, didn't overly insist, or maybe he didn't have time. He's like, look, I'm leaving. You either come with or you don't. And off he ran. And they did literally, I guess, run.
yeah, so his son-in-laws thought he was joking. They're like, oh, that is a good joke. What a droll man that
Your
man
father.
Lot.
Yikes.
Anyway, so they just stayed, and so Lot just like left without them.
But what was one particular warning? I guess we kind of missed this, that the angels gave to Lot and his family, the family that was in the house, in the morning. What did they say? Like, they told them to leave because they're going to destroy the
Oh yes, they weren't big on it, so like he was just like filling around and like getting some stuff together, and the angels were like, no, you need to like get out now.
Because we're impatient.
Like
We're about to burn these people down. Do you not understand?
yeah, like they were like yeah, so they like grabbed them like physically and like dragged them out and they're like leave and like don't turn back, just like run. And so Lot was like, okay, and where am I supposed to go? And like run and go live in the mountains. And Lot was like,
sounds like it
the
sucks.
mountains. Yeah, he wasn't about the mountaineering life. He was like, I don't want to do that. He was like, how about like I go to like this little town that's over there in a different part of the valley? And the angels were like, all right, fine, just go and go now. Like.
So, Lot and his family, the ones who are coming with him, which is just his 2 daughters
And his wife,
start to run. And this is, we all know this part of the story. At some point in the running, the wife, decides to turn around. I don't know what the hell she wanted to see. One last look at the sight of her kids going up in smoke. I don't know. She turned around and turned into a pillar of salt. We all know.
I don't know, like maybe she just wanted to see the explosion. Like if there's actually like fire raining down from heaven, like.
But why would she want to unless she's like macabre? How do you pronounce that word? Macabre. Did she have some kind of lust for the macabre? How is it pronounced? Macabre?
I don't know this word.
It doesn't have the pronunciation somewhere?
I don't know how to read those things.
Me either. Macabre.
I mean, like if I was like walking away from a city and like a bunch of like fire and burning sulfur started raining out of the sky, what do you mean you were just like, no, I wouldn't look? Like I would want to look.
Look at what? First of all, she knows her kids are dying, some of them, in that.
And so you wouldn't look? You just like turn my face away.
But look to see what? Look to get in your feelings and be sad?
It's just a crazy thing to see.
Yeah, well then it seems then that she has a lust for the macabre. She just wants to see destruction.
Wait, if there was an explosion, if it's like a car accident, do you just like not look?
I always think people who look at car accidents, I always think there's something a little bit wrong with them.
Okay, yeah, I never do that. It's also just like something out of the order. Like you want like whoa, what is that? What is that over there? And then you look and see what's happening. Like it's like a volcano.
It's very childish of her because even her 2 young daughters didn't do that. That's the kind of thing you'd expect a child to do. Okay, don't look because it's really bad if you look. Like just don't look. They told you not to.
Possibly, yeah.
The kids didn't.
Yeah.
But I guess the kids are not without fault, as we'll find out pretty soon.
Yeah, but anyway, she does get turned into a pillar of salt. Yeah, these angels had like no chill.
So Lot, who had previously not thought of himself as a mountaineer, was like, you know what, mountain or turning into a burnt crisp, I'll take the mountain. I'll take the risk of the mountain.
Yeah.
So off he goes to the mountain, and now what remains of his family is just him and his 2 daughters. It's not even his wife. Poor lady is off making the Dead Sea even more salty. So it's a small family, a close-knit family. That might get even closer knit, if you know what I mean. If you thought attempted angel rape was disgusting, if you thought Lot trying to throw his virgin daughters Actually, that's maybe still as gross as this. Okay, we'll
Yeah, that's
debate
pretty
it
messed
after.
up.
Yeah, we'll debate later what's the grossest part. But this is definitely up there. Okay, what we're about to tell you, and this is probably, well, no, you might have heard this part, but I didn't. I didn't hear this part in Sunday school. I guess it depends on your Sunday school teacher.
Yeah, I learned about this part in Sunday school.
You did?
Yeah, when I was a little kid.
Wow, your Sunday school teacher's
Yeah.
hardcore.
It was my mom, so
Okay.
yeah.
So they're up in the mountain. Mom salty, literally, not emotionally salty. She's straight up salt. Siblings burnt to a crisp. The town they once knew burnt. Everyone they knew gone. And Lot's daughters are looking at themselves and looking at their father and looking back at themselves and then looking back at their father. And then the oldest daughter says, look, we're here, me, you, and Dad, and it's just us. We don't have any progeny. We don't have any kids. And our whole family now has been wiped out. Our siblings, our mom. So does this mean that our family as we know it will just end right here? Our dad and us, that's it. That's all. And, to be honest, I think they're being a little short-sighted because the mountain is a mountain. They climbed up it. They could climb down. Like, the older daughter is like, look, sis, this is what's going to happen. I have an idea. Let's have sex with Dad.
Yeah. That was what they thought.
That was their genius plan.
They got their dad drunk.
One night, he was raped by one.
Yes.
And then literally the night after.
Says then the next day she says like, yo, I raped Dad last night. Let's make him get drunk tonight again, and then you go and do it. They both got pregnant.
Yay,
Yeah.
so their plan worked.
Yeah.
Sick
it did.
plan, but okay.
Yeah.
Did they stay on the mountain forever now that they had preserved their families?
So obviously after they had kids at some point they came off the mountain or found more people, which is just like
It's what you should have done all along, geniuses.
the son of the oldest daughter. His name was Moab, and he was the father of the Moabites. And then the son of the younger daughter was called Ben-Ami, and he was the father. He founded the Ammonite people.
I guess the moral of the story is,
What do you think the moral is?
well, you go first.
It's about hospitality. So these two people come in, and Lot offers them hospitality, and he refuses to break the hospitality. And then like the other people, like they're kind of like the antithesis, like the most inhospitable people that you could possibly imagine. Like someone comes into your city and like you try to gang rape them. Like that's about like as inhospitable as you can get. Those people were all like killed, kind of like a warning, like if you're inhospitable like this, then maybe your city too will be like burnt to the ground by a bunch of angels that are just like wandering through. I mean, it's kind of like that idea in the New Testament, entertain angels unaware. Yeah, basically, I think it's a morality tale about hospitality that probably really resonated with the people at the time that it was penned.
Still, it's a little dramatic just to teach a tale of hospitality. Actually, there's a great song by Ludacris. It's called Southern Hospitality.
Is that the one that starts with "Get out the way, bitch"?
No.
What do you think the moral is?
I don't know about the lesson, but I do think there's a thread or a trend here. And I kind of like it when the Bible does this. It doesn't necessarily describe people categorically. This person was like this. Sometimes it just lets you see. Lot he's a weak human. Lot is a weak human. I guess he tries sometimes. He's like not a bad guy, but he can never really corral the people around him. I mean, this is a patriarchal society in a patriarchal world. Why can't he effectively protect or force the members of his family? Even his own daughters that lived with him ended up raping him. Weak. His wife, he couldn't even stop her from turning around. Weak. He can't do anything. What's he good for? I mean, it's not the moral of the story, but go and check how his other interactions were with Abraham. Lot is not effective as a father, as a leader, as anything. He's kind of a loser. Like, I get he's rich, whatever, but like, His personality doesn't seem the greatest. When these men came to him, the best idea he could have was like, here, take my children. These are your children. And no matter what you want to think about them, the fact that they were, what was he going to do after they took them? Virgin daughters, I think, is what is expected to get, like, you need to be a virgin or something like this to get married. So after that, what, they would just become trash? This is the only thing you can think of on the fly. Here. It doesn't seem like he's the sharpest tool in the shed. He seems weak. So I don't know about like a moral. But that is like that's the thread I can see in this story from the beginning to the end. Lame, weak, loser. Hi, this is Chismosa. If you're still listening, thank you so much for sticking with us for our very first episode. But because it's our very first episode, we forgot some housekeeping, and I'm going to relay that information to you right now. So first of all, we're going to have new episodes every single week on Wednesdays. And then secondly, if you have any questions or comments or suggestions or even insults, feel free to write to us at our email address, notsafeforworkbiblepod@gmail.com. That's nsfwbiblepod@gmail.com. If you write to us, I might even give you Denali's number. Just kidding, okay? Thank you so much for listening. I really mean it. We're super excited to do this with you. Yeah, so back to the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, stay tuned. Okay, come back next week. Okay, thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Good night.